We're clicking.
It's being recorded. Oh my God.
It is. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our room. You'll be getting that recording message.
We got Clifford Barnett on the record now.
Oh.
On the record, in the flesh. Hey.
He's bringing up new pastors at his church, forcing them to preach on Sunday.
That's right. And they do a better job than me. So we're going to get them out as fast as we can.
I didn't say that now. I didn't say that.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have to. You didn't have to. Everybody else said it, so it's okay.
It was a mentor bringing joy from a new mentee. So that was beautiful to watch.
It really was. She's come a long way. I was excited for her. Thank you for watching too, Bo.
Always.
Yeah.
We're getting quite a few people. So excited to see everybody at our first meeting of 2023. You would think I had reached a point in my life, I'm not sure that you ever do, where it just feels like normal, like that it was slow and just in the right time instead of being fast. And it just doesn't even sound right to be in the 20s. Nor does it sound right.
Look at all these logos on this sign. I mean,
oh yes,
that's huge.
Lots of logos on the sign, lots of representation in our community, lots of great voices that come and join us every month. We'll be talking a little bit about that. And I'm seeing some folks. I see you, Miss Yolanda. It is good to see your face on screen today. I hope you've been doing well. I had not seen Miss Yolanda since before Christmas.
Hello, Tina. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
It's good to be back.
Good. And I'm seeing some new names. I'm seeing some folks that have been around a while. Always good. Welcome, everybody. We do give it a few moments. You'll see on the screen, Beaumont already mentioned all of the great partner organizations. If your organization is not here, it's not because we don't love you. It's because these are the organizations who have signed our belief statement and have committed to wanting to be trauma-informed and resilience-focused. And we'll be talking about that more today and more this year. But the question for today that you can add in the chat if you want to, if you attended our subcommittee meetings this month, we talked about words of intention. So a word that can be the lens through which you view your actions for the year. And we asked that from individuals this month. But this question's a little bit of a tweak. If you were to give a word of intention for the Resiliency Task Force, of which you are a member, what word might you choose? A word that would guide our work or be through something we filtered. I shared with everyone this year, my word was grace, particularly for myself. Javanae, who is with us today, is she chose maintenance. She's been doing this for years. I'm new, so I'm going to rely on her to help me work through. Love seeing the words coming through. I'm seeing, they were coming faster than I realized. Bo's word was hospitality, but that works for the Resiliency Task Force too. We should always be open and welcoming and gracious with those who are join us in the work. Compassion, collaboration. We are nothing without that. So thank you. Empowerment, hope, cultivate. Hi, Morgan King. Good to see you. Hadn't seen her in a while. Community healing, empower, commitment, and empowerment is a good theme here today. Dignity. And that is something certainly we talk about our mission and responding with compassion. That comes with treating and everyone with dignity. And evolution. I like that, Cooper. As we continue to evolve and hopefully grow and make an impact. Gracious is a good one too, Reverend Barnett. Yeah. Oh, execute.
And communication.
Communication. Lots of good words coming through there. Oh yeah, execute, making it happen. I had scrolled too fast.
No, I mean, I'm loving this. We had such a great steering committee with everybody coming out with it, but this is such a lift. Dignity, gracious.
Well, team building, also another one. All of these words, they're now recorded in our chat record. Javanae has been tracking all of the words of intention that individuals shared with us throughout the month. Like what's running through my mind is word cloud, something that can be that picture of what we've been saying and what our intentions are and how doable. And as always, the intent of these questions is not only to give us insight of how we can best represent you in the organization, but it's also just that connection and to think about how those words can not only apply to Resiliency Task Force, but also how they can help with your intentions for the year. So we are now in 5 minutes. So we're going to get started. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, but for those of you who I've not met already, my name is Tina Pearson, and I'm the director of the New Hanover County Resiliency Task Force. And I welcome all of you here today to our virtual meeting. I am blessed to work in partnership with Javanae Skiba, our assistant director for equity, education, and engagement, and she is going to be sharing information with you today as well. And fortunate and blessed as well for us to be led by a wonderful steering committee that is co-chaired by Bo Dean and Reverend Clifford Barnett. And Bo is here today to welcome all of you and share a little bit more about how the who the task force is and how we do our work.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad that you are able to join us today. And we're going to go ahead and start off with a little bit of a skills practice. I wanted to give you a little bit of a background on the skills practice. At New Hanover County Government, we have what's called a resilience working group. And after we started introducing these skills and tools into what has permeated our culture, and we have 2 years of or 2 different employee surveys that have shown a real lift in our organization using this. So we have data behind this as well now. We have groups of people that come from all over the enterprise, from the sheriff's, fire, tax, wherever they're working. If they have gone through either the 3-hour or 8-hour community resilience model, or if they're trained in peer support, crisis intervention, stress management, or the trauma informed leadership team, TILT, which is in social work, or they are in CIT, then they come and be a part of our resilience working group. So we have over 100 people that are qualified to be in that team, and we meet on a monthly basis to talk about how we can more permeate, build together, resource, etc., different ideas to help make sure that we continue this work in New Hanover County government. Well, we came together this past month, and it was a great meeting. We had over 40 people in the room. And one of the things we do is a skill practice to start off as well. For all of us in New Hanover County and across the region, TRI, which is our sort of mothership for the community resilience model, is both on Instagram and in Facebook. And so every week they do Wellness Wednesdays. And I hope after today, if you're in that social media space and you're able to connect with the Trauma Resource Institute, you can get connected to that Wellness Wednesday. So Tina, if you'll go to that next slide, I will invite you to do this practice with us. Now, for us, this slide was done so that it showed up a little piece at a time. And I apologize that it's showing up as an image rather than as a slide. We were going to click through this, but with modern technology, sometimes things don't translate. But what you see on your left is what Trauma Resource Institute puts out on Wednesday for their Wellness Wednesday. And what they put out is something that they refer to as what else is true. And right now in the world we're in, I mean, I know today not to activate anybody, but just in the news, there has been another shooting in California. We've got a lot of serious issues that are going on here in New Hanover County. We had a really tragic killing here in our own community, and there was a really lovely memorial on Friday night for a transgender member of our community who was murdered here in our community. What we were standing on the steps of the city hall, and I sent a lot of you an email, and I said, if you were able to come, and one of the reasons that I sent that email was for us as practitioners of resilience, coming together and just being there is such a huge part of what we do in the resilience world. But as we were standing there on Friday night and we were talking about this sort of tragedy that had happened and the difficulty and all the things that went into that, there was this discussion that started to happen about the connections. So we're talking about the reality that was going on. But then as leaders, so the district attorney was there was another district attorney, there was a faith leader, there was a community leader that is doing a local organization called the LGBT Center of the Cape Fear. There was a leader of the local transgender group, TR. He's done such incredible work. But then there was the partner of the person that has had the tragedy happen. And we were talking about us coming together. And little by little, our lens was starting to become wider. And we were making some connections around some things we could do. And so what else was true was our hugs. What else was true was our binding together in a purpose of justice. What else was true was our ability to see safety amongst each other in a time when we felt very threatened. What else was true in seeing, for some of us that were older, a time when something like this would have never happened in terms of us being able to be standing there with a district attorney. And see, all of a sudden there were these feelings, the sensations of comfort or ease. We were able to breathe and we were able to hug. And it was just incredible, the change. It didn't change the reality. It just helped to widen the lens. And as I walked away with a lot of release from tears, I got to thinking about where I came from in my life, the change in the world around me in terms of being able to get through. And I called my husband when I got on the phone and I said, you know, for me, that is just such beauty to be able to connect in that way, but then to share that with other people and help us to get back into our cognitive space and make that connection. So the idea in the Resilience Working Group on Friday was to do an exercise, to sit there and talk about what's stressing you today, what's showing up in your body. So right now, let's do that with each other. If there's something that's weighing on you, that's stressing you, just track into your body. Go in and sense into or track into where that's showing up for you. Where's that stress showing up for you right now? You don't have to talk about it or put it in the chat. You just identify it for yourself. And the idea is to go and really identify and really be intentional about what else is true. You know, today I've got a lot going on. And so for what else is true for me is I'm connecting with you all. I heard Tina's voice. I saw Javanet's face. I got to connect with Cliff. And Cliff is somebody that I see as a spiritual mentor and somebody that I can lean on and learn from. And so all the stresses that were going on, there was this widening for me. And I could feel myself really, really easing up in my shoulders. And I could feel that shift. And what we're doing together, what we're providing each other isn't a magic bullet or a silver bullet. It's making the shift, being able to create that opportunity to find that neutral or positive. So I'm going to silence my voice right now, and I want you to listen, if you're invited to do so, to whatever's going on inside of you. And as you articulate in your own mind, what else is true today? Find and track into your own body. What are you sensing that you can find that neutral or positive? Just give it a minute to let that find that shift. And whenever you're ready to come back into the meeting, I would invite you into the chat to share any shifts you were able to find that was positive or neutral, any sensation that was positive or neutral, and find a connection for others to share in any of those sensations. And share that in the chat. Really nice. Feel your face start to relax, a breath that came naturally. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you. And as we invite people to add those to the chat, we're going to go on, if it's all right with everybody, to our next slide. All right. And remembering that we're coming together. Thank you, Brittany, that sense of calmness. That chest begin to feel. Christina. Christia. Nice. See, I can read even without my glasses. And that's another miracle, a good sensation that I'm having today. Tension went away, neck and shoulder. Nice. See, our mission is to build our community resilience and to work to reduce and prevent ACEs. If you don't know ACEs, if you're joining for the first time, we'll share that offline, but know that it's about adversity and trauma that we're really trying to reduce and prevent and respond to existing children, adults, providers, all of us. It's about community, right? Create compassion and opportunity. Look at what we're doing in the chat. We're doing this in our mission right now, but the vision is to really create compassionate and a resilient community overall. If we can see each other and find each other, that's the beauty of what we're trying to accomplish here. And it does make a difference. The outcomes are there. People learn better, they respond better, they live together better. It has outcomes that have efficacy behind them for all sorts of ways in which we live and respond and work together. If you go to the next slide. So with that, we carry out our mission by educating, advocating, and connecting. And we don't read all these slides, but I'm going to tell you, in advocating about those ACEs, about trauma, and looking at ways to build in resources for skills, like we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to do something to help people navigate that. And it starts with our own biology, right? We all have a biology, so let's connect with that. And that's our community resilience model, resources for resilience, mental health first aid, all of those things, and share those best practices that have efficacy, that have data behind it to help people do that. Advocate for systems of change that actually mean something that'll help that navigate it. And I had a great discussion on a Facebook this weekend with someone who is really a great advocate about, well, you know, do we change systems? Do we work on these things? Yes. But at the same time, we've also got to navigate things while these systems aren't changing. So we're doing that, we're advocating, and then we connect to each other. And look at all of us gathering today. So Barbara talked about silence itself is calming. And yes, sometimes it's being quiet and still and finding our way for each other so that we can be together and we can take care of ourselves so that we can take care of each other. But it's all data driven, folks. It's all how we're going to do this and show others that this is effective. So we can go next. And when we gather today, we come together recognizing, respecting that we have different needs and strengths. I mean, all of us come to this with the idea that it's not what's wrong with us. It's sometimes what happened, and then build on those strengths. We all have something to offer, something to build from, and that we welcome and value different perspectives. There's good in dissent, and we can find connection. We can find a way forward if we're building on it from that perspective, because we're listening to understand. We're listening to find each other. I'm reading a book called Radical Hospitality that's building such a new piece into my world. But the idea from the perspective of the writer is to really listen, to connect with empathy and understanding, and to engage in those discussions. You know, it's not just that I'm talking, but why am I talking? To create space for others, you know, micro affirmations, not microaggressions, but micro affirmations. How am I bringing others into the space too, and work towards that consensus and provide opportunities to strengthen resilience within the group? And if we're good with that, if there's no discussion, is there anything else for this before we move on? We good? right, so we're going to move on. Tina's going to lead us. Javanet's going to lead us with our agenda today. And y'all, this is just such a privilege to be amongst you. Thank you for allowing me to open up today. Cliff is going to open up in person because we're going to be in an in-person meeting next time. So I thought, you know, you need the better looking, more charming person at the meeting in
Obvious.
person.
Duh. Goes without saying. Goes without saying, Bo. No pressure.
So thanks, y'all.
Good seeing you, man. Peace.
You too.
So if you came to the Resiliency Task Force to get away from trouble, Reverend Barnett is here, so I'm not sure how successful you will be. So we all know and love him, and we are so glad. Thank you that both of you are here today. And we've got, as always, we've got a lot we want to accomplish. We are going to merge some things. So we're going to provide you with a few more year in review highlights from 2022, sharing some data from as far as your level of engagement in 2022. Javanet's got some training reports for you. And we'll talk about a few highlights from 2022 that are actually going to be repeated in 2023, as well as some other goals, some big umbrella goals for the Resiliency Task Force in the coming year. We are going to have a couple of breakout groups similar to what we had last month. For those of you who are not last month in November, for those of you who are with us in November, we started talking about brainstorming some ideas around initiatives that we could work on together in 2023. We also talked about things we wanted to be sure are either started to do, continue doing, or stop doing for our meetings. And we want to dive in a little bit more on what you want to see in our in-person meetings. What would be a successful meeting for you that you felt like was worth your time and travel? So we'll do some breakout rooms so that you can talk to each other about that and add to our Jamboard that we began building last month. We will have time, watching it closely, for updates from you at the end. As always, you're more than welcome to add any updates or any information you want to share in our chat while we're here today. You can also email me and I will make sure that they're in our meeting overviews. We do have a little bit of advocacy information, but it can be shared in an email. So if we don't get to it by noon, we'll touch on it after noon, because we try to say we're definitely done by 12:15 at the latest. Otherwise, we'll just include it in the overview. So we'll go ahead and move on. And I've set up my screens backwards today. So if I'm not looking at you while I'm reading this, I apologize. Normally I have it on my camera screen. But here we go. You can see on your screen today our participation or engagement report for 2022. You know, of course, I would love, with all of the thousands and thousands of people that live in New Hanover County, I wish this was higher. But what I'm constantly reminded by other coalition leaders is that this is an incredible representation of the number of people who are engaged in our community and committed to our mission and vision. So as far as engagement is concerned, over the course of the year, and this is just for meeting, that total participation was 1,406. That translates into hours of time that were spent in Resiliency Task Force subcommittee meetings and our monthly meetings. And that's an incredible gift that you have given to the Resiliency Task Force, because those are your hours of time that are engaged here. And we averaged an engagement of 80 unique of individuals a month. And that meant that more often than not, most of the people who are participating on a monthly basis are participating more than once. So it truly is a gift that you believe in this work and believe in each other enough to continue to provide with that commitment. Now, also at the end of last year, we asked people to participate in a member feedback survey. As part of that, they recommitted to being members of subcommittees, attending the monthly meetings. We also asked people to re-register for subcommittees and the monthly meeting. And of that, our current membership, we have almost 750 members representing over 100 organizations in the Resiliency Task Force. And of those members, over 180 individuals, and that's a great percentage, representing over 80 organizations, have pledged active participation in 2023. That means they plan to attend subcommittee meetings. It means they plan to be engaged in monthly meetings. And it totals, with the willingness to be engaged in more than one thing, to as much as a total monthly participation of over 350. And that is an amazing level of pledged commitment from you. So this is my opportunity to say thank you for your continued efforts. Now, From a data standpoint, you'll know that that translates into something about half of that because you were busy people. And we know that if just because you can't be with us today, it doesn't mean that you won't be with us again next month. So thank you so much for all you do. Now, our engagement beyond meetings, a lot of our efforts are in training. And this is where Javanae can tell you more about what happened in 2022 with training.
Thank you, Tina. Good morning, everyone. I just want to give you a brief training report for 2022. Up till this point, we've been able to engage so many people around the community resiliency model and reconnect for resilience. And since 2019, we've trained 5,598 people, which I think is just wonderful. That's 5,598 people in our community who have some understanding of how their bodies respond to stress and have some skills to use to be able to respond to that. And that is a really big deal. Something that that I wanted to include today also, when we get our post training surveys back, which we always wish for more post-training responses, but all the ones that we get, folks are really excited about what they've learned in a community resiliency model training or a reconnect for resilience training. So all of this has ripple effects into the community. For Reconnect since 2019, we've trained 376 community members, and a lot of those trainings for CRIM and Reconnect for Resilience, most of them are for our providers. So the folks that are accessing these trainings, and we'll see in the next slide some specific organizations from this year, but over this last several years, 4 years, we've been able to train first responders, healthcare workers, educators, public servants, and that's really important. We're starting to change the fabric of our community just through compassion and teaching resilient skills. In 2022, we trained 904 people, and that is really because folks are interested in this and want it for their staff, for their volunteers, for the families they serve. But it's also in big part, I have to say, to New Hanover County, one of our partners, for utilizing the task force or community resiliency model as part of their onboarding. So they've trained, given the 90-minute intro to everybody that they bring on board for New Hanover County. So that's really important. That's what we're talking about with helping people help themselves first. And then that helps make systemic change. For Reconnect for Resilience, we only had 36 trained, but this is important too, because we were able to train healthcare workers at supervision and managerial levels. So again, helping train our providers so that they can better take care of their staff and the folks that they serve. For our coaching sessions, we've been able to train school staff or coach school staff throughout 2022, again, making an impact for families and children in our county. We can go to the next slide. So with our trainers, we have a really great diverse group of trainers, diverse in organizations where they're serving, diverse in the sectors that they're serving. But really, we've been able to gain some more trainers through our Healthy Blue Initiative opportunity, where these new trainers who come from New Hanover County, private practice, Carousel Center, Coastal Horizons, New Hanover County, UNCW. Again, we are creating a deeper, more diverse trainer pool to reach more organizations. We are also working on and do have some Spanish-speaking trainers as well. So we are really laser focused on making sure that our trainer pools are representing the organizations that we want to reach in our community, that reach out to others, different populations, BIPOC populations. We still have some opportunities in the future where we can get more trainers, but we have so much representation for our LGBT community. I would love to see more trainers, and we will get there. But it takes us sending folks. So if you are interested in avenues for us creating an even larger training pool, let me know. But I'm so proud of our trainers, and I'm so glad for our new ones who have taken on training and are taking and exporting community resiliency model into their organizations and out into the community as well. We can go to the next slide. And these are who our community partners, you know, our friends, people in the community who are doing the work of resilience. These are some of the folks who are trying to move to that realized level of training in our community. Some of the ones that you see on the page today, this wasn't their first dip into getting CRIM trained or trained in Reconnect for Resilience. And this is not an exhaustive list. This is not everybody, but this is most of who was trained in 2022. So I do want to thank them for taking the time and seeing the benefit and the value in getting resilient skills training for their staff, for their volunteers, for the families that they serve. But look at how diverse a group we have. You know, we have folks in community health, we have faith-based organizations, we have student support organizations, schools, healthcare. All of these are integral parts of our community. And these are touch points that we are able to build deeper relationship with to export more resilience training. So we're really grateful to those who have taken advantage of training. And we hope that if you've not, or if your organization hasn't, that you'll reach out to me and we'll make that happen for you. We'll go to the next slide. I also want to quickly update you on our racial equity and trauma training series. This was a really great series that we were able to engage our community with. Our original focus was for elected officials, community leaders, and decision makers at high levels. And the folks that we got in the room were really outstanding. The connections that they made with each other during our racial equity and trauma training were because of the heart they brought. Their time investment that they wanted to bring, but also because of the environment that Tina and I intentionally tried to create with the help of Community Organizing for Racial Equity, one of our training partners who offered the racial equity fundamentals and is now offering the race and trauma training phases of that series. Also, another training partner we had was Dr. Kim Cook with Restorative Justice. I can't even think of the name, Restorative Justice Collaborative of UNCW, who came and did restorative justice practice training with us. Such a deep connection to the material for folks who participated. And I see a few folks who did participate or are still participating in our racial equity and trauma training series. I would love for you to add your feedback about the training in the chat so that folks know what your experience has been. But the final training for the series takes place on February 1st. We've had 14 to 15 individuals in the first two phases, and we're building a really great community of practice, which I am sure being able to see trauma through a race equity lens, having that framework, I think, is a really pivotal thing for our community, specific to our lived historical trauma and the trajectory of that in our community. So we'll have another final report on that training series next month after it wraps. And also, I want to make sure that you all know about foundations of resilience. Now, this is something that when Tina came on board, I'll say was kind of her brainchild and a great way for us to be able to reach our partners. This is really developed for those who have signed the belief statement, those who are interested in signing our belief statement. Um, and it's an easy 3-hour 3.5-hour offering that comes in 2 parts. So what we find is when we do a screening of resilience and a facilitated discussion, it is a perfect segue into teaching resilience skills and helping people understand why we talk about community resilience. It just gives us a lens through which to see, this film resilience does, of how important it is for us to build those skills. And it helps folks who are moving along in our action plan kind of start that step, take a step in the right direction for that level 1 or realize of our action plan. So Foundations of Resilience is something that we offer on the second Monday of every month. Our next one will be February 13th, and this is a virtual offering. Now, if you've already seen the film Resilience, then you can just come to the community resiliency model portion. If you've already done CRIM, then just come to the resilience screening and the facilitated discussion. But if you are interested in that, you can use this QR code that's on your screen right now. Also, if you were in the racial equity and trauma training series, we really encourage you, if you have not already, to come and take Foundations of Resilience. It'll help you get an even deeper understanding of the need around trauma-informed racial equity frameworks. So please sign up for that February 13th offering and share this within your organization. If you can't come, maybe there's somebody next up in line from you that can share it and encourage folks on your staff to come. But again, this is a really great opportunity for onboarding. If you don't have the capacity to do it in your organization, send them to us and include this as part of your training in your organization as you get new hires. But again, it is really just your easiest way to access that level 1 on our action plan. And I think this is actually a great opportunity for us to do a little poll for everyone. We want to know about how far you've come on the action plan. So I think Tina's going to launch that poll right now, but it should be popping up on everybody's screen. And if you could just go on and take the poll, we'll give it a couple minutes to see all those answers populate. And again, if you are interested in foundations, please just email me or use the QR code. And I heard somebody come off mute. Sorry.
That was me.
Okay.
Can people see the poll on their screens? Okay, good. So the question is, if this print on it is a little small on mine. Bo was showing off earlier when he said he could read without his glasses, but I can't. So just in case, we're asking the questions like, how does your organization use the RTF action plan? So one answer choice is, I'm not familiar with it, and I don't know if anyone in my organization is. That would be one answer. Another choice is, I have not seen it before, or I have seen it before, but we don't really use it. And then finally, my organization uses it regularly to guide our work. And I am just now remembering that I can't see the answers because I'm the host.
I have it.
You've got the answers?
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
And
So
we are at about 72% of everyone responding. So right now it looks like 33% say that they are not familiar with it and don't know if anyone is. 47% have said that they have seen it, but don't really use it. And 21% have said my organization uses it regularly to guide our work.
all right. Because I was just sitting here and it said 0% had participated and there were no answers. And it was like, I can't imagine why everyone is so stumped by this question. So
Yeah.
that makes me feel much better. I will
Yes.
end the poll. Thank you, everybody. This will make sense later why we're asking these questions, if it doesn't now.
Thanks to all who have reached out in the chat. I'll be getting in touch. And I'll share the results really quickly for the poll so everybody can see.
Oh, there we go. Did it come up on screen?
Yeah, I think folks are
Awesome.
nodding. Do you
Okay,
see
good.
it, Tina?
I'm not able to see when it shares
Okay.
the results. So if you
Okay.
can see the results, then.
All right, perfect. All right, thanks everyone.
Oh, my screen just did something. You're not able to see anything anymore, are you? There we go. No. Are you guys still, what do you see on the screen, Javane?
I see the slides now.
Awesome. Okay.
Also, we have some partner training options. Another great thing about the relationships that we have within the task force is being able to offer more trainings through our partner organizations. And one of those is, as we are a partner in prevention with the Carousel Center, is Stewards of Children training. And the wonderful Rebecca Martin, who has taken on offering Stewards of Children training, is the point person. So if you're interested in this training, Tina is actually trained to facilitate this training. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add about the training, Tina, but this is really in preventing child sexual abuse. And Tina, yeah, please
I was
share.
just going to say, this is a direct way of, if we're talking about preventing adverse childhood experiences, this is an easy and accessible way to be trained on how to prevent child sexual abuse. Right now, they have scholarship funding for youth serving organizations. So if you contact Rebecca, she can help you with that. The training is about 2.5 hours, and it can be done virtually or in person.
And also, this is not a training for just people who technically work with children. This training is for everybody. If you know people who have children, then you are an ideal candidate for accessing this training. It is really for everyone because our children are all our children, whether we have them or serve them or not. Another partner organization who's offering some great training, Coastal Horizons and their youth mental health first aid. If you're interested in that, please use the QR code on your screen, or you can email Amy Reed, who facilitates that training at areed@coastalhorizons.org. And youth mental health first aid, similar to adult mental health first aid, just gives users tools to be able to connect. And if you've ever been in a training with me, you know I say connection is really our first survival response. But it gives you just the tools to be able to connect when you see a youth suffering with some mental health issues. And it's not, again, this is not a training that is just specifically for folks who work with children. If you are ever in contact with children or you know somebody who has kids, this can be a helpful training for you to help identify when a child is in need and equip you with the skills to be able to come alongside them and help them through what they might be facing.
Thank you, Javane, for all of that. I mean, you can see
Yes.
there's all sorts of opportunities. We're doing, having lots of opportunities for people to receive training that can help in a lot of ways, but there's still so much more to go. I'm going to go a little bit rapid fire. I want to get to the workshop part. That's what I told you we're going to get to do today. And I'm looking at the clock and it just goes by so fast. But this particular slide, which will come in the meeting notes, talks about some 2022 highlights, things that we are proud of that happened in 2022 that we're going to repeat in 2023. So you can see here, we've decided in our 0 to 8 years old subcommittee that we want to do our early childhood educators Resilience Symposium again. Cameron Art Museum, as well as our arts subcommittee, is very committed to helping our community find ways to resilience through the arts. So there's going to be another Resilience Day on March 18th, and we're going to continue to offer resilience screenings in conjunction with exhibit openings at Cameron Art Museum. We're going to continue to work with belief statement partners and hopefully add new organizations that want to make that statement for commitment to our mission and vision. We also have some big umbrella goals in the organization that we're going to need your help with. Some of this is are parts that Javane and I will lead or actively engage in, but we can't do them all unless we have the support of you, our members. So our website, we're going to be working through some updates to that. We will want your input to make sure we're creating something that serves you and the community well. We're going to be continuing our partnership with NC Child as a child advocacy network hub. A big one is we are updating our strategic plan. The current strategic plan was formulated in 2019 prior to COVID, and we're going to take all that we have learned since then and update it, and then lead into developing with that the data frameworks to tell the story of what's being done in New Hanover County to improve compassion and resilience and to respond to adverse experiences. And a lot of the work we do is a marathon. So we're looking for data that shows what we're doing in the short term that will reap those rewards in the long term. And part of that comes with partner engagement. We want to support our partners as they learn about the action plan, help us update that action plan, and then begin to report out on how we're moving, because that's one of the greatest pieces of data that we can collect is understanding where this impact and this work is actually being done beyond just Javane and me in the community. And we want to be able to tell that story. And we're also going to do that in the easiest way possible, hopefully, is to give you easy to collect data tools, because we don't want to increase any more burden than we can on your time. So now we get to our breakout sessions, and I'm going to go through 2 slides in the interest of time. You're going to be put together with other members in the group, and you're going to be given a link to a Jamboard. Jamboard has 4 pages, and I'll open that in just a minute so that you can see it, and I can actually go ahead and do that. There are going to be 2, and I'm going to try to figure out, let's see, exit slideshow. Hopefully this will open up the right thing. Are you able to see the Jamboard on my screen now? Is that what's showing? Awesome. So Javane, if you'll share the link in the chat with everyone, I'll share some instructions, because everybody can access this. When you're divided into your groups, you're going to be able to choose a note taker or who can add the Post-its to the screen. To add Post-its, you click on the little sticky note over here, Post-its brand named, sticky note over here, and put it on the screen. So the first thing I'd like for you to discuss is ideas for task force initiatives in 2023. You can already see that we have a full plate, but there's still room where things that you want to invest your time, things you want to work on together. We've taken everything from November and we've put it here together and reorganized it under Educate, Advocate, and Connect. Green means that it's done. It's something that we're going to do. Yellow means it's something that will be done or we're already researching to determine if we can do it. Pink are possibilities that we are up for consideration. And orange is just not at this time. And the only one that you'll find is orange is somebody put forward the idea of only having, our understanding of it was only having RTF meetings quarterly. And we are going to continue with monthly meetings. This page is awfully full, so you can add Post-it notes to page 2. There is another question. If you're like, I can't think of anything initiatives, this all looks good to me. We'd love for you to dive into page 3, and this is about the meeting. This is continuing. What's something that you want to continue to see in monthly meetings? What's something you'd like for us to start? What's something that you want to stop? And thank you to the person who specifically said, don't stop the task force meetings. So thank you. But you'll find a 4th page. And this question is, if honestly, I would say if you can get to any one page in your discussion, because it's already 11:49, is what do you hope to see in our February in-person meeting? What are some activities, conversations that you would like us to have? What is things you would want to see so that when you leave that, you felt like, as I said earlier in the meeting, it was worth your time, it was worth your travel, and you feel like it helped move us forward. We want these meetings to serve you as well as the task force. So the link is in the chat to the Jamboard. You can open that up on your screen. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now so that we can see faces. Javane, you know better than I how to send people to breakout rooms. So will you manage that for us today?
Everyone should be getting a message to join, and you'll be spirited away.
All right. The only concern I have right now, Javane, is that if we only had 14 people open the Jamboard, and there may be somebody in a chat room and that does not have access to that link. So and if I broadcast, it just comes up and disappears. I noticed that the other day when somebody broadcast to the group. So I think what I could do is I could pop into each group and drop it in the chat.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably a
try
good
that.
idea.
All
And
right.
then we could all, yeah.
I'm just going to I'll go through each room and see how, we'll see how this works. Popped into one group and opened up their chat, and all the chat was still there.
I think it depends, because I feel like our chats usually stay in breakout.
I'm assuming that was not enough time for you guys to get into a deep conversation. I'm seeing head shakes. And the sticky notes were not there that I know you guys have great ideas for, but we wanted to be true to our times check-ins, and it is 11:58. We did set the invitation to be until 12:15. So if you guys would like to pop it back into those rooms, so that you could continue your discussion for a few minutes longer, we can do that. We just wanted to be respectful of that.
Did you want them to move through to the second part of the breakout exercise? Or
Actually,
do you want them just...
If we could, and we might even be better to do this together, if you'll check the chat, if you've not opened up the Jamboard, because one of the places that I saw that we've gotten some good feedback related to some more initiatives. Lots more Post-its have been added to that for things that they'd like to see in 2023. But we would like that feedback on what's something that you would consider, what are some qualities of or aspects of what would be a quality in-person meeting for you in February. So one of the things that we could do is you can open up that Jamboard, and you don't have to be in a work group to make that happen, or breakout room, or we could move to breakout room. And with so many people still here, we're down to 37. I guess, what would you like to do? This is hard in Zoom. If we were in a room, I could say, how much time do you want?
Tina, I guess if I were choosing, I expressed that I missed most of the meeting today. This is my very first one. I don't know exactly what to suggest in seeing in the future, but keeping us all together probably and hearing other people's ideas would help a lot.
Sure. So one thing that I can do is I'll share my screen and I can populate the Jamboard if you like. If Javane, if you could be keeping an eye on chat or raised hands in the room, I'll be the official sticky note adder. And if we've got some
Sure.
ideas and you guys want to brainstorm, what are some things that you would like to see in our February monthly meeting? Activities.
So we have a question in the chat. What is the date for the February meeting? So all of our meetings are the fourth Tuesday of the month. I'm not positive. Let me look at my calendar. I believe the fourth Tuesday in February is the 28th.
Yes.
And our February in-person meeting will be our first in-person meeting since COVID. So let's put some Post-its up that have lots of bells and whistles and celebration.
It'll be at the Harrelson Center.
Yes, at the Harrelson Center. And Tina will definitely be sending out reminders. And if you've not already gone to our website, nhcbouncesback.org, to join and get on our distribution list, please go on and do that. And I'm sure, Tina, if you do have the link to the Jamboard and things come to mind, don't feel like you have to wait or you have to put them in the chat. You can go on and use that link alongside Tina in real time. But we've got some stuff in the chat, Tina, sharing out on upcoming trainings and events. We have team building, getting to know the task force members. We have hearing testimonials or success stories from others. These are great, everyone. Thank you. Oh, this is a great one too. Preparing for and serving people being resettled here in Wilmington. Are we connected with refugee aid organizations? Is there a speaker who can attend?
There's so much pressure when other people are watching you type.
We also have some practice that we can leave the meeting with, like skills that we can use. Another suggestion for presentations from different groups, resources in the community. We have act out scenarios. Let's see. For newer people, understanding how the Resiliency Task Force works. Um, let's see, sharing out on upcoming trainings and events that we can share with our community. Sharing expectations with new members. Thanks, everyone. Those are excellent additions to the board. I don't think I've missed anything.
I'm just moving things all around. Hopefully no one's getting motion sick from all of that if you're looking at this. Those are all good. And so we're looking forward to, and it really does kind of build on a great agenda. One of the things that I guess is setting expectation, if you will, for our meeting next month is, and we'll be sending more information out on that. Thank you to the Harrelson Center for hosting us next month. It was just wonderful of me to offer the space up in the annex, and we'll send more information out. We'll be sending that meeting invite out. I didn't want to send it out, a calendar invite out prior to this one for fear things would get confused. So that will be coming very soon so that you can put this on your calendar with the location. We are, one of the things to consider will be having some sort of light refreshment, and this will need to be a team effort. So keep an eye out for something like a sign up genius, so that we can all of our organizations, or even as individuals are able, can contribute to just light refreshments. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It is 2 hours next time. We voted on that in November, so that we have more time to engage with each other. And so it will be just hopefully a wonderful opportunity for coming together. So we are now at 12:08. So I'm going to stop the share for just a moment. I'll send, or for the rest of our time together, in the monthly meeting, when you get that PowerPoint presentation, we did have an opportunity for sharing from your organizations. So one thing that I will do is make sure, if it's not in the chat, that you email me anything that is time sensitive that you will happen between now and February. We will make a concerted effort and a dedication of a good chunk of time for you to report out on what's happening in your organization, how it's serving the community, and resources that you have available. That's something that came up here, and that is often what is missing from these virtual meetings on time. So we will make sure that you have that time available. The other thing that we would talk about is, that I will share and will be there, is an advocacy opportunity that's coming up in February. The NC Justice Center is leading this, is around Medicaid expansion, called Love Thy Neighbor. So one of the last slides has the link and information for if you would like to participate in that. They are hosting a hybrid advocacy day, which is where we are at this new world that we're in, where if you are able to go to Raleigh on February 14th to meet with our representatives and senators to advocate for Medicaid expansion, you can do that. And then we'll help facilitate some hybrid opportunities. So if you wanted to do that virtually. So that should cover most of what we have today. We'll keep this meeting open, link open for a little bit longer. If there's an organizational update you want to add to the chat before we go, or if you have any other questions or ideas that you would like to add. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for engaging in conversation. And we look forward to seeing everybody live and in person in just a month, in just 4 weeks. So hopefully all of you who are here with us today can be with us then. I hope you all have a really great day. I saw a question, and we'll answer that if somebody's still here, about will we have a virtual option on in-person days? And we will not. Those are going to be focused on in-person connection, and I'll include that in the overview so that everybody understands.